Hello, my name is Sophie Belle, and I am a feminine power and breathwork coach. I'm the founder of the Feminine Edge, which is a movement to empower women to really stand in their authenticity and to start to lean into the femininity that makes them them. So, today I'm going to talk to you about rejecting shame and embracing your feminine edge for success. Over 80% of women and girls internalize shame. In 2024, we get to choose to reject shame and embrace who we are and feel empowered in who we are. It really is possible to rewrite our story, and it really starts with awareness of what that story is and the choice to change how things are, how you communicate, how you stand, and what you stand for. And women typically only recognize 50% of their potential. So when you think about what you want in your life, can you imagine if you were to just double that and accept that that was what was possible for you? I'm going to teach you and empower you not only to rewrite your story, but to bring new levels of growth into your consciousness. This results in more wealth, better health, love, joy, just overall fulfillment, which you deserve in your life. So, what is your feminine edge? It's the part of you that makes you authentic and unique. A really important thing to remember is that the world needs you to be you. You're not here by accident. There is such a tiny chance that you were even born that we just really need to trust that there is some reason for us to be here. It's also the part of you that feels and cares. It's the part of you that is intuitive and gets inspired. It's the part of you that loves and is open, but it's also vulnerable. And it's the parts of you that without the shame, without the need to hold on to the suffering for fear of losing connection, that we would walk into any room feeling grounded, centered, and ready to connect with others, not crippled by imposter syndrome, not constantly triggered and having to stay in fight or flight mode in order for us to just simply survive. So, why is it important for you to embrace your feminine edge when it comes to success? We have been taught to favor our masculine energy, and this goes for whatever gender you are. If you think about a corporate business and the way that they measure success, your progression, it's generally always about these numbers, about A and B equals C. And there really is so much more to it, especially in leadership. And it starts by leading ourselves as well. So if we can really embrace a softer and more open way of being, then that is going to help drive success, but also it's going to feel really good. Because if you think of something that you do and you know that you showed up as yourself and it worked, how good does it feel that something worked, something went the way that you wanted it to work by you being you? But then if you think about something that didn't go the way that you wanted, but you were yourself, it's much easier to let it go, isn't it? Just to go, well, at least I was myself. I didn't pretend to be anything that I wasn't. And if that's not for them, that might hurt, but you were still yourself. You were still true to yourself. And the truth is that love, compassion, and intuition and joy are really wonderful business tools. And of course, strategy is important, but when you combine the being within the doing, this is when you're more focused, you're creative, you bring inclusive energy to a task, which is ultimately going to end up in delivering much better results. Or the worst case scenario is that it's going to give you a more considered experiment, which can lead to a more powerful action. It's going to be easier to learn from something that you feel passionate about that you can then move forward with than something that you did because you felt you had to. And we don't have to fight everything. The lack mindset, which is a result of those traditional KPIs, I didn't get that, I'm not good enough. I don't earn that much, I'm only worth this much. It's such a huge driver of low self-esteem, and it's really rooted in that constant questioning and comparison and lack of creativity within those traditional KPIs. So when we can bring our desires and our uniqueness to business, actually thinking about why do you want something? Why do you want to earn that much money? When you think about the feeling, the lifestyle, the exciting experiences that you can have, doesn't it feel so much better than feeling like when I get to that number, I will be a success? So are you aiming for multiple six figures because it's the only way that your family will approve of you, and they've always believed that that is a sign of success? Or is it that when you know you've hit that number, that you'll be creating such an impact from the work that lights your soul up? It really is important to change our perspective and ask why. Connect to our own vulnerability and belief patterns within that. Really bring that level of critical thinking where we are questioning why we believe something. And it might be that we do believe that and it feels good and it aligns with our values. But if we start with those values and acknowledge really what they deeply are within us, then that makes living feel really good too. So, for example, if you're working in a company where you experience sexism, you can make the choice about whether that works for you. That doesn't have to be your life. There might be difficulty in that. You might need to ask for support, build up your confidence to ask for support, but you have the choice to start taking those steps. And when you're connected to your values, you can really start looking at things through that lens, and that eases the strength of some belief patterns that might be keeping you doing things that aren't really aligning with you deep down. Because the truth is that you and everyone else in your life will thrive when you're aligned with your purpose, when you're working in an environment that really matches your values and you feel excited to be there most days at least. And rewriting your story comes down to that awareness again. So really getting to the bottom of what is driving you, looking at your youngest and most vulnerable self within to understand what is being experienced when you're triggered, or when you're unable to move towards something that you know you want, or even how you're presenting. And this is where, when we can identify those stories, and it's a really simple process, you can just start with, I am within that story. So a classic one is, I am not enough. I am alone. I can't trust others. So there really is that lack mindset of the world, lack of trust in those around you, and then lack of trust in yourself. So looking at what's showing up for you and then changing that, deciding to change that, and really matching your behavior with what you want the story to be. And that is where you step out of the passive feminine and you embrace the power that you have. And that power really does start with choice. So how can you today start embracing your feminine edge and thriving in your life to drive success in your career? Number one, reject shame. Let go of suffering as a way to connect. Be inspiring, lead change. You are not responsible for other people's triggers. And actually, if we keep bringing ourselves to that level, those triggers that are driving the perpetuating shame, the constant need to suffer and put ourselves down, then we're really not helping anything. If we can take that step and lead that change, we can connect with the people who are going to help us to amplify our life and our purpose. Secondly, find reasons to do things, not to hold yourself back. I bet that you're always finding reasons not to do things. We'll start to change that and find reasons to say yes, to go for things, to listen to your needs. Prioritize your mind, because thoughts are so unbelievably powerful. And when they support the vision, the desires that you have, you will be absolutely amazed what starts to play out. Take care of your nervous system. When you feel safe in your body and you create space to integrate your growth, your impact, those outside external results will really start to accelerate as well. And you will feel so much better. Often people describe it as a really positive undercurrent rather than that low-lying anxiety that people tend to feel when they are spinning a lot of plates. Work on your belief patterns and open up to your growth edges. rewriting your inner story is going to create a really unshakable foundation for you to flourish, because you're going to be driven by that on automatic, which is going to lead you into much more aligned and wonderful places. Embrace your desires, stop talking about them as results. Get clear on what lights you up inside. So whether that's wealth, impact, love, you get to choose. You get to reject shame and fixed mindsets that may have been absorbed from your upbringing, because it feels so much better to follow your heart. Own your feelings, use them as learnings, and that discovery really will become such a pleasure. Open your heart and allow yourself to connect with yourself and others, because the world will be a much better place for it, and you will feel much better for it. We often feel like we don't have the energy for other people, but actually when we work on our own energy and we open our heart to ourselves, we can really start to let others in and start to find the energy where we feel good with others around as well, and receiving that support. And finally, champion other women. There is enough for all of us to shine. We're in a completely new world now where there are few boundaries, and obviously this causes us some angst on a personal level, but when we think of it as a level of abundance, it really does enable us to bring other people up with us, and it creates the most amazing movement. And remember, with all of this, you have a choice, and own that choice. It feels so empowering, and it's such a brilliant starting point. Thank you so much for listening. You can find out more about me, the platform, the movement, and the one-to-one work that I do via thefeminineedge.co.uk. And I'm over on Instagram at Sophie Belle Coaching. See you soon.